factors necessary for sustained growth over the last 200 years or so.
Okay, good call. More than that.
South Korea has experienced rapid technological advancement and industrial growth, yet faces slowing productivity and structural rigidity. From your research on historical roots of innovation and sustained growth, what lessons do you think countries like Korea can take to ensure that innovation continues to translate into long-term prosperity?
Yeah, I must say, I find it slightly ironic that this question comes to me from South Korea, because in my lecture about institutions, I always contrast, as it's almost inevitable, South Korea with North Korea to exemplify the fact that if you have reasonably good institutions, you do a heck of a lot better than if you have lousy institutions, as they do in Pyongyang. I mean, that seems kind of obvious, and I think Acemoglu and Robinson made this point, and everybody makes this point. And so to worry about the South Korean problems, given that it is a wealthy, peaceful country that has miraculously pulled itself up from very low income per capita in the 1950s to one of the wealthier nations in the world today, strikes me as sort of I mean, if you worry about South Korea, what do you think about North Korea? What do you think about, other countries, Myanmar, countries like that? Those are the countries I worry about. South Korea should continue to do what it has been doing all these times. It should make sure its borders are open, that it is tapped into the best practice technologies of this world, and they should have more babies. That, I think, is the one concern that's causing, some kind of stagnation in South Korea. I think they have one of the lowest birth rates on this planet. I mean, maybe this is a choice that they made. And I think there's another question here about fertility. We can come back to that. But in terms of technological innovation, I mean, some people here in the audience must be driving a Korean-made car. And I don't think that they would feel very much inclined to think of these Korean-made cars as an example of bad technology. If you want an example of bad technology, look at the cars that were made in the Eastern Europe before it collapsed. And, if you ever wanted to see a really bad car, you should try a Trabant, which is now a museum piece. Now, South Korea doesn't make Trabants. They make cars that run and run and run. So to say that I'm really, in all due respect, I'm really worried about their economic future. Many other countries on this planet would like to trade places with them.
How important do you believe openness and the free exchange of knowledge are for sustaining growth in an era of growing geopolitical and technological fragmentation?
Well, I'm a great fan of the free exchange of knowledge. I'm also a great fan of the free exchange of anything else, including goods and services. So my big advice to countries like that is stay open and keep the country not only open in terms of its boundaries, but of the freedom of its people to say what they want, to have a free press, to have free elections. South Korea has had a reasonably successful democracy. I mean, nobody has a perfect democracy. We should know that by now. But South Korea has made the transition to democracy. And so when you make that transition to democracy and to a free society, you realize that Churchill was right in his famous cliche about democracy being the worst of all systems except for all the others. And South Korea has its its worth and its trouble, and follow the news and you realize that it doesn't always get the best people to become politicians. But it is a successful country. Now they are located in an awkward part of the world, of course, because they are a small country right to a very big other country, and that always is a tricky situation to be. I mean, I studied Ireland in my younger days, and that was a small country right next to a bigger country, and it didn't always work very well for them. Korea has been able, thanks in part through American support, to pull itself up from its poverty. We're talking about the southern part here, not the northern part. And I think they should. I see no particular reason why that can't continue, except for this sort of threat of demography, which I talked about.
And have 3 chairs. So hip hip, hooray. Hip hip.
And my colleague, Fred Ramsdell, we worked together on this work. As to my knowledge, they still haven't found him. He's like backpacking in the wilds of Idaho. And, everyone keeps asking me, how do we reach Fred? And I don't know. He's unavailable. So it will be a shock for him as well.
My phone was still on airplane mode because I was on vacation. And my wife's phone blew up when we drove through some little town. And I had pulled over to let the dogs go for a walk and hanging out. And my wife started screaming, "Oh my God, oh my God." And I said, "What?" And she said, "You won the Nobel Prize." And I said, "No, I didn't." And she said, "Yes, you did. I have 200 text messages that says you won the Nobel Prize." I'm like, that's unbelievable. But we still didn't have any service at that point. And so that meant that now we knew what these cells looked like, what they did, how to get a hold of them, and frankly, what controlled their development and their activity. And so now, even 20 years ago, we said, look, if we can harness these cells or the activities of these cells, we can now potentially use that to treat people with MS and autoimmune disease, other autoimmune diseases, rheumatoid arthritis, etc.
올해 노벨경제학상 수상자로 신기술을 통한 지속가능 성장 연구에 기여한 경제학자 3명이 선정됐습니다. 스웨덴 왕립과학원은 조엘모키어 미국 노스웨스턴대 교수, 필리프 하기용 프랑스 콜레조 드 프랑스 교수, 피터 하윗 미국 브라운대 교수 등 3명에게 노벨경제학상을 수여하기로 했다고 현지 시각 13일 밝혔습니다. 모키어 교수는 기술 진보를 통해 지속 가능한 성장의 전제 조건을 파악한 공로를, 아기용과 하윗 교수는 창조적 파괴를 통한 지속 가능한 성장 이론을 세운 공로를 인정받았습니다.
한국은행이 미국 관세 여파로 우리나라 성장률이 0.5%포인트 가까이 증발했다는 분석을 내놨습니다. 그러면서도 기준금리는 아직 내리지 않기로 결정했는데요. 경기 부양보다 집값 안정이 먼저라고 판단한 겁니다. 송수진 기자입니다.
기준금리 인하가 본격화된 건 지난해 10월입니다. 이후 지금까지 기준금리는 4번 인하, 4번 동결, 계엄과 관세 등으로 불경기 우려가 커지면 인하, 가계대출과 집값이 출렁이면 동결하는 패턴이었습니다. 기준금리를 2.5%로 동결한 것도 경기보다는 집값이 더 급하다는 판단에서입니다. 고강도 627 대출 규제에도 집값 안정세가 확실하지 않다고 봤습니다.
금리로 집값 잡을 수 없습니다. 다만 유동성을 과다하게 공급함으로써 집값 인상 기대를 부추기는 역할을 하지 않겠다.
다음 달 초쯤 발표될 정부의 주택 공급 대책에 따라 인하 속도와 시기를 조절할 거로 보입니다. 한은은 올해는 0.9%, 내년은 1.6% 성장할 거로 전망했습니다. 성장률이 2년 연속 2%에 못 미친 적은 지금까지 한 번도 없습니다.
낮은 성장률이 좀 지속될 가능성이 있기 때문에 적어도 내년 상반기까지는 기준 인하 기조가 유지될 가능성이 크지 않겠냐.
소비 쿠폰 등 재정을 풀면서 내수는 회복되고 있지만 미국 관세 충격이 훨씬 더 크다는 게 한은의 판단입니다. 관세 충격 탓에 올해 성장률은 0.45%포인트, 내년 성장률은 0.6%포인트 날아갔다고 평가했습니다. 올해 기준금리 결정회의는 10월과 11월 2번 남았습니다. 인하냐 동결이냐 여부는 집값과 경기 사이의 고차방정식 셈법에 달렸습니다. KBS 뉴스 송수진입니다.